how could I have known that this super sexy 19-year-old Chinese woman that said she's really into the way I do Python coding for the CIA? What are you talking about? That's not even vaguely plausible.
Hey everybody, before we kick off this episode of Foreplay, we're excited to announce here at LFN our new partnership with the game Mechabellum, developed by Game River and published by Dreamhaven. Mechabellum is a tactical auto battler where you have a big army of mechanized robots and tanks, and you deploy it against your opponents. It's very strategically deep. It's extremely fun. It's not pay to win or any of that other BS. And not only that, but if you pick up this game, you can compete against us, the LFN hosts, including myself, Thorne, and Richard, who will all be participating, as well as other LFN fans. And you can win cash prizes and in-game rewards. We're having a tournament on Saturday, December 20th at 10 a.m. Eastern in the U.S., 7 a.m. Pacific, and 4 p.m. Central European Time. It's a 5-hour-long 2v2 ladder tournament. So what happens is you and a friend or two LFN hosts will hit the ladder during this time. You register your account, and for the first 3 hours, you grind the ladder as much as you can. And after that, the top performing teams will be invited to a 4-team semifinal bracket to be broadcast on stream, which will then feed into the grand finals. If you participate, every participating player will receive in-game rewards, and there's a $500 prize pool on the line, and more in-game rewards will be offered to top-performing teams, and everyone who participates and everybody for LFN can receive a free in-game holiday reward if they use the code LASTFreeNation. If you want to sign up, join the LFN Discord, link below, and register in the Mechabellum channel. We'll be tracking your wins on a custom API-powered leaderboard. In order to participate in the tournament, you must share your Steam username and friend code in the Discord. If you don't have a friend to play with and you're looking for a teammate, we also have a Mechabellum team channel for you guys to partner off. We're also going to be offering coaching sessions in the LFN Discord server, and I think the talent, like myself, are going to get coached, and we will make videos available for you as well. There will also be tutorial content in there for you guys to learn the game. You can come join LFN hosts and fans for some fun competition in Mechabellum this holiday season. Play in our 2v2 tournament on December 20th to have a chance to win $500 in cash alongside in-game rewards. Use code LASTFreeNation in Mechabellum to earn a special holiday-themed in-game reward. Viewers who tune into the live stream will also have a chance to win random reward keys by being active in chat as well. And if you haven't tried Mechabellum yet, it's 40% off on Steam until January 5th. There's no better chance to jump in and play this great game. It's a lot of fun, guys. We all like it here, so check it out and come join our tournament. Okay, welcome back to Foreplay. We are in our third film of our Robert Redford arc. We have jumped forward in time to 2001 for the Tony Scott-directed spy game starring an older Robert Redford and a younger Brad Pitt. So similarly to the Newman-Redford experience that we had in films like The Sting, which we did as our first film, or even before that, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, Robert Redford is now the old man of Hollywood, and where he used to be the young buck, and Brad Pitt has kind of taken his place, so it's interesting to see him in this new role. We have done one Tony Scott film before, which is The Hunger, in our 80s vampire arc. I believe that's the only
crazy.
Tony
That's
Scott.
the one Tony Scott movie we've done.
Not
And
Top
now
Gun.
it is.
It's
From The Hunger to Spy Game. Like, deal with it.
So Tony Scott is, in fact, Ridley Scott's brother. If you guys didn't know that, or was, he is now deceased. Not Ridley Scott, Tony Scott. And he, very different than Ridley Scott. He is much more of a popcorn filmmaker. I would say, like, has made generally very entertaining, more mainstream films.
I think his 90s run is actually fucking slept on. I wanted to say this right at the top of the show before we get into the summary. We probably said it a little bit on The Hunger, but like, okay, everyone talks about his 80s stuff because he had Top Gun and Beverly Hills Cop 2 in there, right? But like, his 90s run is fucking crazy because The Last Boy Scout is one of those movies where it's like, if you like Shane Black, you will just love that film, right? Like, it's everything. It's
Classic
cracking
action movies.
Cop.
You wouldn't dislike it. Absolutely. If you like Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, you're gonna love that film.
Yeah. But then
True Romance, fantastic.
One of the best films in the 90s. Like, it's straight up there. Like, Crimson Tide, then Enemy of the State. We don't talk about The Fan. The Fan was bad. But that was
it's actually hilarious how many of these movies I've seen recently, because as part of our Gene Hackman arc, and also as part of my wife and I just watching a bunch of 90s action movies, I hadn't seen Crimson Tide, so I watched that. And then I rewatched Enemy of the State recently, and they're all just like really fun action thrillers.
Yeah, like, look, what I love about Tony Scott is, you know, he is a filmmaker. Basically, if Michael Bay cared, that's what you get with Tony. Michael Bay doesn't care. He just says, "Well, another Transformers movie, all right, CGI it. I'm just gonna, oh look, all the fucking aspect ratios are different from cut to cut. It's dog shit. There you go. Enjoy it. Right? Yeah. See you for Knights of Cybertron. Goodbye, guys." Like, Michael Bay don't give a shit anymore. That's fair enough, right? But like, Tony Scott does. He does care about his craft. His movies have an aesthetic that you can spot immediately if you know his work. He will happily jump around genre, but absolutely key to almost every movie Tony Scott has done is it's about interplay between a charismatic protagonist and either a charismatic antagonist, or generally speaking, he makes really, really strong buddy movies. You know, Top Gun is ostensibly a buddy movie, just the buddy switches halfway through. Beverly Hills Cop 2, you know, it's about Judge Reinhold and Eddie Murphy. You know, fucking obviously Last Boy Scout. We talk about True Romance, is, you know, Christine Slater and Patricia Arquette. You know, Tony, and then obviously in his later output, I mean, this is essentially a retread of Enemy of the State. It's got the same blueprint, but it's still a really fun movie. He's not pretentious. He doesn't want to make, he's not like his brother. His brother wants to make, every time he sits down to make a movie, he wants to make something that's going to redefine cinema, I feel. Tony Scott wants to be like, movies are meant to be fun. You're meant to go watch a movie, have a good time. I am going to, you know, make movies about topics that are a little bit fantastical. It's also going to be a super surface level exploration. You know, it's like, we're not going to get into it. Like, what it's really, this isn't Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. This is Spy Game. You dig?
Yeah.
And that's what, and
also, like, I feel like Tony Scott's like a director that has a very high floor, but not a very high ceiling. So it's like you say, you know what you're going to get. You know what you're going to get.
If the ceiling is True Romance, I would still argue that ceiling is very, very high.
Sure.
And Crimson Tide is a blast as well. I mean, you know, so I don't know. I mean, Duncan, I know you obviously picked this one as well, and I know you like Tony Scott probably for the reasons I'm outlining, right?
Yeah, I actually do think, sadly, it's mainly because of the contrast with his brother. I think he gets underrated because I do think people see his brother as the artistic one, and then they think he just does the fucking, like, they tells him that you just do the box office one, mate. But, like, I think that is to undersell Tony Scott. Like, by the way, I agree with what you're saying, but I think those are all positives. Like, every Tony Scott movie is going to be like 90 minutes or 2 hours, but it's going to feel nice and compact. As you say, it's not going to be some sprawling meditation with, like, fucking Fellini vagary and, like, biography. No, it's just a fucking movie, mate. Like, what this guy makes is really good, tight, well-shot movies that are cleanly produced. They all have a visual and action style that is recognizable. And I agree. I think the flaw on his movies is not sprawl. Like, I do think he has very few bad films. Even, by the way, actually not even that many that were later in his career that were that bad. And he has, I think the 90s to this is very early 2000s, is a mega run. He does some really strong films. And actually, one thing I like about this film, which I also think fits with a lot of his films, is even the ones that are these great commercial successes, Top Gun, etc., they always have like a heart and a soul to them, though.
Oh, yeah.
They always do have like I think this movie, by the way, if we want to skip ahead, this movie, I think, has one of the, like, my favorite endings of a film ever. I find this is really, like, satisfying, like, hits all the fucking emotional beats and ties it all together. And again, you could just think this is just a film about, like, a cool, you know, spy. Like the title says, the game of what can they do as a spy and how can you get away with things and what can you... But actually, there's, like, a real heart and a soul to this film. I think it's dope.
Yeah. I mean,
even Top Gun, like, at the end of the day, there is a very interesting character dynamic between Maverick and Iceman, and there is nuance to that film. People
so
will
that's
remember
presented
it for
Monty as like it's a Chad, you know, lol, we're all like killing the MiGs. No, that movie's all about like losing your friend and fucking how do you have a relationship while being this intense guy on the edge. So also like
about being a deeply closeted homosexual man,
and also the whole thing of like. how do you join forces with someone where you are a maverick, but you have to be on the same side in about like there's some like real shit in there as well as all the beach volleyball and lol. It's Iceman and Maverick. Hey, you dangerous man. Yeah, the point is essentially that nails it. That Tony Scott can do both. He can do like Hollywood and a bit cheesy, but he also doesn't have to like betray like the characters and the soul of the story. I feel like he's actually one of the best people at doing both. Like another thing about someone like Tony Scott is I'll forgive a lot more when it's someone like that when I sort of just know again what the billing of the movie is going to be like. I know it's going to be a little bit cheesy, but that's also a movie. It is a fucking Hollywood movie at the end of it. It's an action movie.
I mean, put it this
He
way.
does get a lot of. He gets a lot out of his actors too. I mean,
he also
if you just
seems
look
like
at the performances.
it seems like also actors don't agree with that like critic thing of writing him off. Bro, actors rush to be in this guy's movies. All the greats, like he has an unbelievable list of like if you were to pick the greatest actors of the last 30 or 40 years, he has a lot of them in his films, mate.
Put it this way, like it's like look. Right, I know exactly what's going to happen when I put Man on Fire on for the fucking 50th time. I know exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
I knew exactly what was happening the first time I watched it. I'm still crying when she says "Creasy Bear" at the end. I'm fucked. Like I'm done. Like so he knows how to put like protagonists and characters you care about onto a film.
He's definitely skilled at what he does. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. You know, put it this way, it's actually. There's a lot more to it than people would think, because think about how many movies we've bounced off historically. I don't just mean us like on a podcast, but I mean us as people who probably watched thousands of movies combined down the years. Think how many times you've bounced off a film because the protagonist just isn't likable or the actor just doesn't feel relatable. There's something off about the performance. You know, you cannot say that about a single Tony Scott movie. You will always get into the film because you will really vibe with the protagonist or one of the characters. It's just how he does it. Now, okay, some of his later stuff. I'm not going to lie, I haven't watched Unstoppable. His last.
I haven't watched that one. No,
I haven't watched that. I watched the remake of Taken of Pelham 1, 2, 3.
Watch that.
Which it's obviously inferior to the
It's
original.
not as good. Here's the thing, though. I'm a big fan of that type of John Travolta film, though. I think it's decent.
Yeah. I know you're another. Yeah. You're a ride or die guy with John Travolta, which is fine.
I just am. That's one of my weird ones. Yeah.
No, that is a weird. Can you just explain why before we even get into the episode?
Because for some weird reason, in that latter era, I'll give you an example. I watched one the other day. I watched that one that was written by Luc Besson, From Paris with Love, where it's him and fucking Jonathan Rhys-Meyer or whatever. Right? Yeah. It's not a great film, by the way. It's actually like a fucking poor man's Tony Scott film. Actually, just an action film. But he's doing that thing where John Travolta actually can be. I think he's a bit like Nicolas Cage, is why it's so fitting that they were in Face Off together. They're presented as like they're the one-note actors that did, a couple of good, but no, like, bro, I actually can enjoy most John Travolta performances. I find I actually like it when he's bombastic and he's tearing the setup and he's really charismatic. I find he has like a very strong charisma to him in that sense. It's why I don't get caught up in that whole, like, how can he be part of the Scientology thing? I'll tell you why people like him and Tom Cruise can do that and still be in movies. Because they are, as you see on the screen, they are so arresting. Like, you wouldn't think, let me tell you about why that's all wrong. You'd go, maybe there's something to that. Like, they'd win you over, mate. They've got like a charm and a charisma to them. So look, obviously a lot of these films he's doing aren't great films, but I just find his performance, I enjoy them. I really enjoy what he puts on screen.
I will say this, like, one of Tarantino's greatest achievements is probably resurrecting John Travolta as a serious actor, but purely and simply because people forget he was in some fucking good films. Saturday Night Fever is a good film. It's not just a motherfucker dancing.
Yeah.
It's got loads of other shit in there. He's in Blowout, for fuck's sake. You know what I mean?
One of the all-time greats.
Yeah, well, exactly. And then for some reason he started doing Look Who's Talking, which I saw Look Who's Talking too with the fucking.
By the way, the comedies he's in, I'm not a fan of.
Keep
that shit away from me.
So he was done. He was like creatively bankrupt by like the late 80s, and then obviously in '94 he gets another shot at it. And since then, I think ultimately he's done some really good movies. It's not just action movies. Like a Civil Action is a really good legal.
All right, we're done with John Travolta.
Yeah. Okay.
No, let's make it a John Travolta episode. Let's go. So, I'll tell you what as well. Let's start.
This is the Robert Redford arc. Stop it.
Yeah, right.
No, I agree though. Like, pretty sweet. Also, he is amazing in The Thin Red Line. The brief scene he's in, unbelievable. Yeah. I think even some of the later films. There's a film I've referenced before. There's a film. If you ever want to watch a really interesting like mystery movie, there's one him and Samuel L. Jackson did called Basic that I think's a really fun, mystery. I won't tell you anything about it. Just go in blind. So again, Like Nick Cage, that's why I gave the parallel. Lots of shit movies in there, lots of movies where you probably shouldn't have made that choice, but when they get it right, they get it right. And so I think he's a badass. So look, again, I also agree that's a way worse movie than the 70s one, but it has some redeeming qualities to it, is the point.
Yeah. So, do the summary, and then we'll get straight into this, because the summary's not long and complex.
Yeah.
No. This is mostly just... This film is mostly about spycraft, and relationships, so the summary will be very short.
Yeah.
Basically, Robert Redford is an older agent at the CIA named Nathan Muir. He is in the middle of... He finds out through his contacts at the CIA that Brad Pitt, whose name is Tom Bishop, so I'll refer to them as Bishop, that is Brad Pitt, and Muir, who is Robert Redford. Bishop is a spy student that he trained who has gone off the rails and who has been captured by the Chinese government in a Chinese prison. He's gone rogue in that he should not have been there. He was not on an official operation for the government. He's been captured. He's being tortured for most of this movie. And Robert Redford is basically inside the CIA trying to get him out. There are a bunch of meetings that are happening. There's a sensitive trade talk between China and the US that is going on. So there are a bunch of people from Congress who are inside the CIA headquarters, and they're deciding basically whether to let Bishop die or not. And Robert Redford is using all of his old CIA contacts. By the way, it's his last day before he retires, which is a little cheesy, but whatever. So he's using all his CIA contacts and his decades of knowledge of spycraft to like call the right people in the media and pull the right strings and use international wire accounts to get money to the right places to ultimately save Bishop under these people's noses who are trying to prevent him from doing that. And he's trying to like surreptitiously get information from Congress about their operations and what other things he doesn't know about. So it's fun in that there is a lot of like cat and mouse games going on to deception, which is why this is like a really entertaining movie to watch. But ultimately it's about one CIA agent who goes rogue and then another CIA agent who goes rogue in a different way in Langley to save him. Basically.
By the way, when you said it like that, it sounded like you were doing that voice, like it was silly what you were describing. I understand it could.
No, it's cool.
But I actually think what you're describing is awesome, and it's why I love this film. Like, I love the way that simultaneously the stakes of the movie are like real world. The guy's locked in a fucking prison where he's going to be like tortured and or killed, and like he's just lost to the world, no chance of getting out of it. But how does this mentor of his actually save him? As you say, using almost like office japes and shit of like, this pass isn't quite expired yet. Like, every little trick in the book that you can think of, but in a cool way. I think that's what's dope, because I've always thought the actual problem that spy movies do have is that a real good spy movie would be Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, but that doesn't work as a film. It's too complex. But it's like it takes some of the elements of like how mundane being a real spy is. It is things like cross-referencing a name and looking something up and get, shit like that,
or calling the guy at the newspaper and being like, I got this story, could you run it?
The problem is real spy shit isn't Ethan fucking whatever his name is from Mission Impossible. That's too like movie-ish, So what I love is how mundane and it literally just I'm still in the office overnight type shit is how he saves the guy's life. I think that's actually really cool. Like
he's
whoever
basically
wrote this
just
script,
like talking to people and making
this is
phone
like
calls.
I think this is a really creatively written scripted film actually.
Yeah.
Like what a cool concept for how he does it all. And also I think it's really smart the way you think some of it's just this like how's he going to get through this and the next shape and the next thing, but then I think it's already at halfway through the film when they do hit the big emotional notes though. Fuck, like that ending hits me so fucking hard. When he just says that line like Operation Dinner Out, when he realizes that, because by the way, there's another thing about Tony Scott. That is why this man was not a hack or just a guy who did commercial films. You know how many other filmmakers would have to put in a speech or have them call each other or make some, no, all he does literally is have a helicopter pilot say Operation Dinner Out and just a shot of Brad Pitt's face and you see it all. You don't need anything else on it. You know from watching the movie exactly what that means, and it hits so fucking hard. And then he doesn't like say something. He's already sold you, bro. He just gets out of the sale. That's it. There you go. End of the movie. Enjoy.
What did you say? Nothing. Just that we're on our way home, sir. No, Operation what? Dinner out, sir.
Foreplay is brought to you by Raycon. And I would recommend checking them out because if you're listening to our podcast on the go, whether you're at the gym or you're working, you may want to listen to it on some nice Bluetooth headphones. And you may also want to hear what's going on around you. So if you're looking for a holiday gift for yourself or for somebody else, I would check out these Raycon wireless earbuds right here. These are the essential open earbuds, so they wrap around your ear and sit on top. So there's nothing in your ear canal. You can hear everything going on around you just fine while still listening to some premium audio, come in a variety of colors as well. So great option for a stocking stuffer. This holiday season. Right now they're up to 20% off for the holidays, so you should grab them while you can. If you want something that goes in the ear canal, they also have, of course, their regular everyday earbuds. These come with active noise cancellation and transparency/awareness mode. So these are another good option. Both of them I've used at the gym. They work great. You're not going to have them fall off or anything like that. Just comes to the preference of what you want on your ears. And Raycon has over 3 million customers, and the sound quality is just as good as the way more expensive brands, but they're half the price. That's right, because they're not paying for all that retail markup. And if you don't like them, there's a 30-day guarantee, so you could just send them on back. So very low risk here, guys. All you have to do is head over to Raycon. The essential open earbuds are here for the holiday season, and they're selling fast. Raycon audio products are up to 20% off this holiday season. Go to buyraycon.com/4playopen, FOURPLAYOPEN, to save on Raycon audio products site-wide. Order by December 15th to guarantee delivery by Christmas, because great gifts shouldn't show up late.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's kind of also interesting as well that you bring up that the kind of almost mundanity of Spycraft, because everyone's fucking raving about that shit in Slow Horses, that TV series.
Oh, sure.
That show is bad.
I mean, listen,
Sorry. I'm a Gary Oldman fan, so I'll endure it, man.
Yeah, I love Gary Oldman, and I don't like that show.
Yeah, I gotta say, I definitely have some issues with it, but it is what people like about that is that it shows an almost like mundanity to what they're doing, to intelligence.
It's essentially like a bad office job for real.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like he's literally, it's called Slow Horses.
There's no martinis and fucking 10 out of 10 bombs. It's just doing like someone's rubbish, pick up this thing for the air or something. Yeah,
well, and also all the people who were on the team they failed at being real spies essentially, and they're just, and like you say, like the pilot of that literally has someone, he's just going through the trash. Because he failed an exercise, and Gary Oldman can't stand him because he's a bit too posh, so he just makes him go through the bins. But by the way, spoiler: if you're a spy, you are going to go through someone's trash at some point, and what have you. And so, there's a playful segment when Robert Redford is like essentially mentoring Brad Pitt's character Bishop, and you see like a very fast cut montage of like how he teaches him fundamental elements. But because again it's a Tony Scott movie, he's not going to bore you with the fucking details. He's going to show, I need you up in that balcony in 5 minutes, and he's there having
a great thing.
Yeah.
I love that they're at the food cart, and he's like, I need to see you in that balcony in 5 minutes, and he's like, what? He's like, you're wasting time. This is great.
Yeah.
Because
see that apartment building?
Yeah.
Know anyone who lives there?
No.
Within 5 minutes, I want to see you standing in one of those balconies.
Come on.
Just lost 10 seconds.
Again, it's cheesy, but it's what you want from a cheesy horror film. It's awesome.
But also it does make if you had to simplify all of the elements of what Spycraft ultimately is, and indeed this is one of the themes of the movie. It is about quickly turning someone around to like you without being so charismatic that they're totally enamored with you or you're totally memorable. You have to be a bit of a nebulous personality, yet you have to be just charismatic enough to get somebody to see your point of view, to either give up the information that you want or to do the
make an
task
introduction
that
for
you want,
you.
or to make an introduction exactly. And that is the reality of it. I mean, like, I was thinking a little bit. There were some elements of, obviously not as much, but there were some elements of The Insider in this, and there is a little bit of overlap with like what an investigative journalist might do to bring a source over, and what a spy would do to ultimately get you to flip on a government or make an introduction to someone that I assassinate. The difference is journalists with sources, it's not like I'm selling you a car and then we never talk again. It's I want to, you are now in my source network. I'm going to talk to you, check in on you. We might have further cause to work on a story together down the road. What it explicitly says in this is if you get flipped, like it even says it, if it's a choice between you or the asset getting caught, just send them flowers. Like, don't even fucking think about it. Just get the fuck out. And obviously, over the course of their careers, how many assets have they done that?
Which, if you notice, Richard, that's also an interesting thing about that, because that's the heart of the film, is that he tells them basically, if you go off reservation, I won't come get you.
But he does.
In fact, that's essentially, if people don't know, the position of all intelligence agencies in the West. That's why they're actually not particularly heroes to me, because they will just abandon their own people that they know are fighting for the country just because you got caught. And it's especially the worst is like this, where it's just politically inexpedient. It's not even that you couldn't do it, you just don't want to admit to it. But here's the thing, I actually do think that is a really cool angle, because unlike one of my other favorites, Heat, he doesn't stick to that. Actually, in the very end, that is the ultimate thing he is willing to give up to save this mentee type figure in his life.
Yeah.
So that's why, even though you say it's cheesy, Multi, the idea it's his retirement day, I think that's also beautiful, that like he basically spends his retirement day pretending to do fuck all and wrap up all the loose ends, but he actually essentially like sacrifices all the rewards of his career because he does so. Because look, I hope this part also was like just softly communicated. He doesn't hit this super hard because, again, Tony Scott isn't a hack. He allows you to like read some of this into it. It's actually not as black and white movies as people think. I hope it is implied that people get it, that like he didn't have like a family back home with kids and stuff. And essentially that's what Brad Pitt's character is to him. He's sort of like his work son in a weird way, isn't he? Like that clearly isn't something that, because at the end he is supposed to do the Heat. Like at the end you just get out and you're safe and you're cool, aren't you? And he just risks it all at the end. I think it's also dope, by the way, that like he sort of gets away, but he doesn't have all the money and he doesn't have any more power than I think that's cool. I think it's a really satisfying ending. I think it's really cool.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, he does say to Bishop, Brad Pitt's character, that if you don't listen to me, if you go against my orders, I'm not going to save you.
Yeah.
But he doesn't say if you follow my orders, but he didn't give the orders for Brad Pitt not to go into that Chinese prison to rescue that woman, right?
Yeah.
I think that woman was in there as well. He'd sort of like set her up, hadn't he?
And he was the reason she was in there. And, we do see these people do horrible things. So I don't think, because he didn't explicitly forbid it, there isn't a, hey, I'm not going to save you from this situation. And I think also, to your point about the retirement, it is important that he's retiring because, in a way, like, him stopping these activities, I think, allows him to see the humanity in this situation in a way where he would have just been extremely brutal about this.
So here's the other thing, Monty.
About this previously.
Here's why I don't have a problem with it being his retirement day, because you know what? That's another thing I remember even thinking. This is why I love Tony Scott films. That happens quite early on in the movie where they're like, right, you're on your last day, and then when that suddenly comes in about that thing with the prison, they go, you got 24 hours till they kill. Bro, that might sound cheesy, but that puts a perfect framing on the movie, right? There's your stakes. You got 24 hours to get it done, but you've only got one last day in the office, and in fact, daily, you should have gone home on that night. Like, I think that sets up the really neatly. Like, now I know exactly the box I'm operating in and what is possible and the time frame. Again, it's not that he just has unlimited time, but he only has one day left. Like, I think that even that setup, which sounds like a cheesy Hollywood frame, it just works in my opinion. It makes the film work. It keeps it snappy.
Yeah, I mean, look, the thing the movie does, which people will probably pick up on straight away, is obviously it's a bit of a crazy, almost like an expository dump, because it's got the spy game coming up on the screen. The pre sequence is Brad Pitt getting captured. By the way, that just in itself, it's a very exciting little miniature heist.
Yeah.
Just,
it's really a cool set piece at the start of the film.
Yeah.
Where he's trying to extract the woman and working with these other like undercover people.
Yeah. Where he like has to fake his own death, which, by the way, that is something that that apparently that spies can do. You can take you can take medication that'll slow your heart rate down and stuff, and then you can be brought back with adrenaline or whatever the fuck. It's super risky, but if you need to fake your death for whatever reason, they can do that. So anyway, so you've got this nice little heist at the start, and so now all of a sudden, what we very quickly realize is, oh shit, Brad Pitt's been captured. How the fuck are we going to put Robert Redford and Brad Pitt on screen together? Like, how's that going to work? Well, cool. Here's
flashbacks.
Yeah, flashbacks. The whole movie is essentially the story of their relationship, and that's another reason structurally why the movie works, because ultimately we're getting drips and drabs of their history. All of the interesting parts are essentially retold by Robert Redford's character, and we get to see that mentorship, kind of happen in a very, kind of broken up kind of way. But yeah, there's a bit of an expository dump at the start. It's also, I said this to Monty before we hit record, if you said to me, Richard, date this movie, I would have said 2000, 2001 instantly. The aesthetic of the having the text at in the bottom corner, which is like a Roland Emmerich fucking thing, all of that stuff. But I mean, like, I don't hate
Langley, Virginia. Yeah, of course, classic.
I don't hate.
No,
that,
I like it. I like the
what,
aesthetic.
That's what movies did. I mean, remember, that was essentially a trope that came out of, I want to say, the X-Files, right? Like, and so
I don't know what originated it, but it was in everything of that era.
It was just, but from the mid-90s up to the early 2000s, and now obviously the only person doing it is fucking Michael Bay again. So about all roads lead to Bay, not my Bay. But anyway, so the movie does a lot of things that are very traditional and maybe a little bit cliched at the start, because it has to set this up for you, and it does a really good job of like essentially paving the way to put these little vignettes in. And here's something that we can really get into, right? Definitely I'm tossing this one back out to both of y'all. I actually think it is incredibly refreshing for a movie to acknowledge America interferes with everyone else's fucking business all around the world and does horrible shit in service of their own interests. Now, it's a Tony Scott movie, so it doesn't go as hard as it could. It's not like Salvador, right? It isn't Salvador, right?
But it's not trying to be subversive. It's just trying to be realistic to me. I know what you mean.
Absolutely. But like, this is how I know this movie was shot before 9/11, because after 9/11 we have obviously, hey, let's all laugh. It's Chicago. We're all good. America's great at y'all. Let's all come together and ignore all of our decades of horrible foreign policy. But this actually leans into it, particularly in the Beirut segment, right?
Yeah, and you get to see there. I like how it eases you into it too, because the first time they burn a source, basically, or they burn an asset, it's that, oh, this guy was a scumbag and he was talking to the Russians too, because it happened in, they were trying to get a guy out of East Berlin into West Berlin.
This is what I mean. The movie walks up to a line, but then it doesn't want to cross it. Like, hey, he was a scumbag and he was going to sell you out. Like, I'd say,
I'm saying I like how it starts there, but then by the time they get to the Beirut section, it's literally like, here's a doctor, he's going to go get bombed now. It's really not a justification for that one. You know what I mean?
The doctor being willing to kill a family friend, but we're also working with a radical terrorist group that blew him up before he can do that. So all levels of horribleness.
There's no redeeming quality about the car bombing that happens in Beirut in this film, because the doctor, who is, by the way, the cousin of the target, so an actual family member, which is why he's trusted near this terrorist leader. So they get him to like agree to poison the terrorist leader, basically, and he walks in there, but unfortunately they might have missed the timing on it, so they tell the Lebanese rebels to go just car bomb him, bomb the building and kill a bunch of people, including the doctor.
To Brad Pitt the whole time as well, going, look, I have to meet with him. I've got to meet with this radical terrorist group. It's just protocol. We just got to have a backup plan. Don't worry, they're not a serious option. We know your concerns are correct, Tom. They're they are cowboys. They're gonna fucking, they'll do it bad. And then it's like literally 74 people get killed because fucking Robert Redford didn't want to trust Tom to. So what again? Duncan's absolutely spot on. What is interesting about this film is, if you're paying attention, you understand why Robert Redford wants to get him out. It's not just because he's a friend, but it's also because he recognizes how all the decisions he's made in the spy game across his 39-year career have ultimately put Tom in that fucking prison.
Yes.
There's a guilt aspect to it, which it's not hammered. Because Robert Redford his character doesn't give anything away. That's why when he's lying,
it's a
about
very
all
subtle
the
performance.
lives,
By the way, I also think this is one of my favorite. That's why I picked this film. It's one of my favorite Robert Redford. This is like perfect old man Redford, where he just the smoothness and the charisma. Just it's necessary, bro. You couldn't have this part without it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, he would have been 60 something in this film. Still looks great for 60, of course. Handsome bastard that he was.
But he's like 65 in this movie.
Yeah, but I also like as well, this is, interestingly enough, this is Brad Pitt when he's just starting to learn to act.
Yeah.
Because, by the way, Brad Pitt is literally like, 26, 27 years
Yeah, and
younger
he
than Redford or
he didn't turn in some really good performances until like 12 Monkeys or Fight Club.
He'd already done Fight Club by this point. Fight Club comes out in 99.
Yep.
But, yeah, you're right.
But you see, I'm one of those Gen Xers that fucking took Fight Club literally. Like, I'm the guy who totally misinterpreted Fight Club.
He had done 12 Monkeys also 95, man. Actually, he had already turned in a few good performances by this
so that's
time.
what I mean. Like, Brad Pitt is on the come up as an actor, and I think there is a little bit of subtext in the movie that Robert Redford basically was looking around at all of the actors, and probably thought like this would be a good fit for both of us, in the same way that Paul Newman kind of not mentored, but we saw in a lot of their buddy movies, it was almost like a passing of the torch to a new generation. I think Robert Redford probably wanted to do that, and obviously Tony Scott had already had this formula of let's bring in an old established actor and a young upcoming Hollywood star, because Gene Hackman and Will Smith just did it in fucking Enemy of the State in 1998. So it's a winning formula. It absolutely cannot fail, and I think there's definitely a subtextual reading of Robert Redford saying, "You're the good-looking, handsome bastard that's going to go on to make a bunch of fucking great movies as well, like I did." And so I like that. I think it's a really good choice of cast. I think also the fact that, as I've said, Brad Pitt is just sort of morphing into Robert Redford as he gets older and older and older, because they seem to have that same incredible, just too beautiful to be real. You know what I mean? It's too good looking to actually exist, but somehow they exist. I think, Brad, it's a really sensible choice. It was a really, really good casting partnership. I think Brad Pitt is functional in the movie.
His best films. It's not.
No.
As in for his part.
He leans back. He did this thing. It started a little bit in Seven, where Seven was really his breakout movie in the sense that prior to that, Brad Pitt was just the fucking bait from fucking Thelma and Louise. He was just meant to be, look at these abs, but he wasn't meant to be an actor. And then he turned in his fantastic performance in Seven. But part of that performance is, it's like De Niro does this thing where when he's in a scene, he'll repeat the lines. He does it in Heat, so it's not like he just does it in his shit movies. He does it in Heat. Go, clean up and go home. Clean up and go home. The money, Maury, the fucking money. He'll repeat a line over and over again, and almost like he's going through a process, but that isn't the process. That's the finished product, right? And once you see it, you'll notice it in a million things, like how Arnie always goes Lyle when he's like wrestling someone. But Brad Pitt is the point and shout, and he had this thing coming out of the 90s into the noughties, where if ever he was lost in a scene and he wanted to fucking like emphasize anger, he would grab the person and go, and he would repeat the line and repeat the line. He does that a bit in this. There's like definitely some, I call it like crutch acting, where you revert to a type.
He went to the Russians a week ago and said he had a contact, an American, somebody he could use.
Don't tell me that. Don't fucking tell me that. You didn't look in his eyes. Don't tell me that.
He was your asset, somebody you use for information.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
But honestly, he's not bad in the film. He's definitely not bad in the film. It's just, I think all the better performances are on the Robert Redford end of the story. Like, you've got the actor who plays fucking Stannis Baratheon. He's a great antagonist in this.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, actually, for a guy you associate with TV.
Yeah. No, he nails it. That's even the thing I was going to say. I haven't seen him in fucking almost anything else, but he kills me at this part. Like, he's actually really good as like the one person who, by the way, remember, that's one of those areas in movies people are unfair. Just because we're empathizing with the protagonist. The Stanis Baratheon actor is correct the whole time, by the way. He's right to be suspicious, and he knows something's going on. The rest of them are the ones just going like, nah, I'm sure it's fine. So it's his last
and
day,
also,
but he's actually, his instincts are killing it. He's a great security agent. He
Yes.
just gets outweighed by a guy who's even better.
And also, you know, Bishop is a guy who literally is messing up international affairs with another superpower in China who could cause real conflict and war because he wants to save this woman that he slept with. He's not on an official mission.
It's not like
for the U.S. government.
It's not like that guy was in the prison. They're breaking him out. He went into the prison himself to do an off the book third party illegal excavation. So at that point, by the way, Monty, it's totally plausible that you would just say, "Forget about that guy. We're not going to save him." Like
you
that.
should.
That is what you should do. I agree.
He's off the reservation.
Agreed.
He's literally fucking up foreign affairs because he wants to get this chick out.
Yes.
Yeah, but also, as I said, like what the storyline makes abundantly clear is there is an evolution of like the character's outlook. Like, she was meant to be an asset, then they have a relationship. She turns out to be someone that was involved with a terrorist organization. What makes it especially spicy, he's breaking her out, is she did kill, what was it, the Chinese ambassador's son or something.
By the way, she's also not presented as some innocent person who's just all. Actually, she herself has. That's why I even say the whole father relationship even makes sense. This is like the father being like, "Oh, that's the wrong woman for your son," but in this case, he didn't have like the home life, and then essentially Brad Pitt's character proves he really loves that woman, doesn't he? So there's almost like a wholesomeness to that love interest.
I mean, think about it this way. One of the things it does well as well, like most people won't understand this now, but if you grew up in the 80s, the word Beirut itself, the name Beirut, was an analogy for if something looked absolutely destroyed beyond fucking being rebuilt.
I mean, the other one back in the day was Sarajevo. Those were the two. That you said that, you
Beirut,
imagine just the war zone and everything destroyed and blown up.
You know, and then
absolutely.
People used to make jokes about Beirut. It's like downtown Beirut down there. You know, people used to say that. But also, the reason Beirut works is Beirut was a fucking shit show. People don't realize that power vacuum could have been filled by there was about a dozen people vying for power. It's why I don't think they explicitly say it in the movie. If they did, I didn't catch it. But that part they have to move through all of the time to get to different parts of the fucking city. That was essentially like the no man's land that got set up in Beirut, where one faction was on this side, one faction was on that side.
It's crazy too, because he's like, I have a good place for breakfast, and they're like running past gunfire to get to the cafe.
Which, by the way, is one of the more fucking believable aspects.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you,
better be the best damn breakfast I ever had.
Oh, no, it's delicious. You love it. Of course, we have to make it to the end of the hour.
You're gonna make a beautiful corpse.
the people that do like war photography or anyone who's ever like served in the fucking military, they just consider being like, it's just it's like they've got themselves into a headspace where I wake up today and I've got to go outside, and if I get shot and die, fuck it, that's the roll of the dice. And like you see some of these fucking, again, the war photographers, he was playing a war photographer as part of his deep cover. You have to be able to just like, they're not shooting at me because I'm a photographer. There's no one would kill a photographer. So I'd have to get super unlucky to catch a stray. Right, now let's get this fucking picture. And so the idea of crossing through this no man's land where everyone's shooting at each other, no one is allowed to go through. It's on site if you do it because they assume you're an operative for one of the other dozen factions in this area. And he's doing it because he wants to have orange juice and eggs. It's fucking mental. But it's also perfect for the characters. Remember, Brad Pitt served in Vietnam. And he was also, again, this is another nice little touch. Robert Redford's in the shit and he's super cynical. He's in intelligence. He's seen it all. Brad Pitt is like some fucking, farm boy or whatever that fucking volunteered for Nam. Volunteered for Vietnam at a point everybody knew Vietnam was a clusterfuck. and then just immediately became
Also, I'll give you an
a
example
sniper
of
who
what I
learned in
love
the Boy
about
Scouts.
people like Tony Scott, which is normally you've seen this scene 1 million times. You know the scene where he's trying to shoot the guy with the sniper rifle?
Yep.
You think you've seen that 1 million times, Monty, because in what happens in every other movie, I can't get the shot. No, you do. Gives you the satisfaction. Just do it anyway, motherfucker.
Yep.
He just does it anyway and kills him. I fucking
Yep.
love that. One, I love that, and then two, I also love the fact that at the end, Monty, he usual suspects those motherfuckers, doesn't he? Because he was telling them all those stories about his wives, and they were covers too. Exactly, bitch. Exactly. I love that when he Kaiser Soze all those motherfuckers right at the end.
Well, I also love how in the film he sets up the bank transfer so it looks like it's his purchase for his retirement home in the Bahamas, and it's the exact same amount of money, so that when he transfers, he can just cover for himself. It's really a fun twist.
The way the satellite photos of the Bahamas look quite like that off China area. Like, listen, it's a movie. It doesn't all hold together perfectly, but I just love that.
The moment of the reveal, because you don't.
awesome.
What I love about the way that it's portrayed is you don't know what he's doing or why he's doing it, and then when he reveals it to the guy who's interrogating him, and the guy's like, "Ah, shit."
Yeah.
And the fact that it's my life savings. I just wanted to be sure. Sorry.
Because here's the thing,
I guess it was legit.
The brilliance
good.
of the movie is this. It isn't that he really masterminded everything. He's just one step ahead at all points. That's what's so cool. Which, by the way, surely is the ultimate skill of this type of a spy. You can't really design the entire thing and they get away perfectly. No. That's why most movies, sadly, rely upon silly happenstance.
Motherfucker as well. How would you be ahead of him? 39 years in the game.
That's the point. He's actually like the ultimate guy to do this. That's why I actually think that it's even the perfect title for the film. Spy Game is just a badass fucking title. That's what he does do. He basically shows, like I say, from a field office, from an office at the base, he manipulates the whole fucking world of spy apparatus, just using all his know-how and tricks and relationships. By the way, there's also a million subtle things with how he gets this information from this person and gets into this office and then back into here and then sends a thing here. Oh, it's actually, I actually think it's masterfully done. Like, whoever wrote this also clearly had some knowledge of what being a spy is like.
Yeah.
Or at least they persuaded me as much.
Yeah. I mean, look, it probably is somewhere in between, I think some of the aspects of James Bond are probably not as far-fetched as people might
By the way,
think.
this actually makes me think Tony Scott could have directed the fuck out of a James Bond film, mate. Are you kidding me? He would have nailed it.
True.
It would be mega, wouldn't he?
I'll say this. One of the most depressing realities when you actually start looking at what spycraft actually is, particularly in the modern era, it is ultimately just being able to fuck someone and pillow talk. That's it. Right, and that's dudes and chicks. I mean,
it's the same as the joke about hacking. Actually, brute force hacking something's almost impossible. What you do is you're just really good on the phone and you get the person to give you the password.
Exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't sound as sexy, unfortunately, but that really is the ultimate ability. Yeah, essentially, this guy's actual weapon is a fucking phone. He's amazing with it, though, isn't he? Straight fire with the phone, though, mate.
And if you look at it right, like one of the things that China always does now to get shit from America.
Oh, mate, it's
they
so
just
bad,
send the
Richard.
student over.
Because it'll be like when people tell the story later, they're like, "How could I have known that this super sexy 19-year-old Chinese woman that said she's really into the way I do Python coding for the CIA?" What are you talking about? That's not a thing. I met her in a bar in San Francisco. She wanted to sleep with me the same night. It must be love. Like, are you fucking real? That's like thinking the stripper likes you, bro. What are you doing?
I'm a 54-year-old career politician, and this is the most exciting thing that's ever happened to me.
It's why, by the way,
suspicious about a lot of procedure.
Some of the info is straight fire. I'll never be able to respect anyone who's in those James, whatever his name is, from like fucking that company.
Oh, James O'Keefe.
Yeah, because it's always like some turbo normie loser programmer who's like, I can't believe she's into me. Yeah, anyway, here's exactly the secret coding that I'm doing. Like, why are you saying all that? I did. You pathetic loser. But low-key, that is what he does. He's straight fire.
No, bro. He put it this way. If anyone knows how he got his start, he did a collaboration with like Breitbart. This is super old shit. Where he basically went to he dressed up as a pimp. Like with the big hat.
Yeah.
And it's literally how James O'Keefe journalist started. And he went to basically the a housing grant thing, and he was like going, but if I'm living with my
he's like doing some out the wire or something now. Like,
bro, it's like a Sacha Baron Cohen skit. And that's how he got his start in
Okay.
journalism, because, you know, Andrew Breitbart was all about
Yeah,
that
yeah.
shit. He thought
I mean,
that
look,
stuff
it
was
works as a technique, though. You can see people open
Sure.
up and give you all the fucking info. It's crazy, isn't it?
But that's what I mean. But so back to Spycraft. Like, Spycraft is just being charismatic, not even necessarily attractive. Attractive helps, but, you know, being charismatic and flirtatious. And unfortunately, people do just fucking give up stuff. It's why, again, in this movie, I thought it was kind of interesting, because obviously she's been around a bit, like, in terms of, like, she has to do deals. Think about it, by the way, as I said, Beirut, all these factions, you're in the middle in a war zone, trying to get medicine in and food and supplies. Think about all the double dealing and promises she's got to fucking make just to make that a reality. You know what I mean? So obviously she plays the game. She's not a spy, but she knows the spy game essentially. And then obviously with Brad Pitt, when she realizes she's been played, because Robert Redford absolutely cockblocks him mega when he comes into that restaurant scene and just like literally goes, "Oh yeah,
it's a hilarious scene though."
Yeah, he's just a friend from the embassy. I helped you with that visa problem. Anyway, why can't you go back to London, bitch?" Like, whoa, Nathan, man, like, what the fuck, dog? You fucking me up.
I don't know if she's mentioned that she's not welcome at home. Parents won't talk to her. Her brother and two sisters think she's crazy. She's a fanatic.
Stop it.
This is ridiculous. Yeah, you just met this guy.
So anyway,
He's doing, but he knows that Bishop's in too deep with her, right?
Yeah.
So he's trying to.
Redford's always
He's literally. Right. I do enjoy that the cockblock is like. Yeah. It's just Richard. It's a professional.
Yeah, and then she says to him, "What's your name?" And he goes, "It's Terry." And she goes, "What's your name?" "It's Terry." And he's still reticent to like break his deep cover, even though she knows, he knows. Nathan Muir might as well have sat down at that table and gone, "By the way, we all work for the CIA, right?" So you know what I mean. May as well have just said that.
Tell me your real name, please.
Terry.
Jesus, you got it.
But like, it's obviously then he knocks on the door, and again you get that scene with a little bit of heart, and he goes, "Tom, my name's Tom," and like, you know, that's the breaking down of the walls and them forging a special relationship, you know, which obviously informs the driving focus of the movie. Funnily enough, you thought it was a buddy movie about Robert Redford and Brad Pitt, but it's actually a fucking love story about Brad Pitt and Catherine McCormack.
My name's Tom.
So I also add as well, I think, you know, I really like the supporting cast, as I said, in this. You've got a lot of stuffy people in suits that are kind of perfect for that kind of role. A lot of these people are, again, seasoned career actors. I don't know how many of them worked with Tony Scott, but, you know, for instance, Gladys, Robert Redford's secretary, who's, again, she's ride or die. You got to love that. She's an actress called Marianne Jean-Baptiste.
I do love that trope too, where you have like the long-serving, almost like your fucking Alfred type secretary who'll just do anything for you. I just love that trope when you do it right. It's very satisfying, isn't it? And he has to be the gentleman to her as well, which is also the classic thing that you do. You're very lovely to them, etc. I love that.
Yep, she's in like a bunch of like movies that like never really, you know, they're not big successful movies, but she's just been acting in movies and television for fucking ages, and she's really good. And as I said, I think you need that, right? Because what's the first person you would absolutely have to trust with everything, as in it? Destroy these files, like you know what I mean? If you're saying that to anybody in your life, right? If anything happens, destroy these files. You better trust those motherfuckers, like, because that is that you literally giving them your life, your legacy in the palm of their hands. And she's constantly on the phone where he's doing that thing. "Oh, my wife's calling. It's a retirement party. Hi, honey. Better cancel those reservations."
I also love that, the way he's nailing it.
It's
like,
so
he's
great.
just saying totally fine things, but then it's like, "Yes, okay, send the hot cart chopper." Yeah. I love that. I fucking love that concept.
Because he says, "Yep, the Operation Dinner Out is a go," and then like they say,
"What a fine, I know it's to get dinner." I know, I love it. That's, by the way, low
so
key,
funny.
Some of this shit, if you didn't handle it well, would be so cheesy and just like, nah, whatever.
No, but it's so clever in the context because he knows that people might overhear him. So
it's just fun.
Dinner hours ago.
hours ago. Hell of a way to speak to your wife.
Why do you think they keep dumping him?
This episode of Foreplay is brought to you by Prize Picks. It's the holiday season, the best time of year for sports. There's bowl games, basketball matches, playoff pushes in the NFL, NHL. It's also happening. And if you're an esports fan, you're probably watching this before the finals of the Budapest Major in Counter-Strike, and Prize Picks has Counter-Strike as well. So if you guys want to join Prize Picks and have some fun over the holidays, the thing about Prize Picks is you just pick more or less. So the way it works is you take a couple players, pick more or less. Now in Counter-Strike, this could be kills on maps. It could be headshots. In traditional sports, it could be goals scored, points scored, yards in the NFL, for example. So if you think a player is going to exceed that, then you pick more. If you think they're going to get fewer than that number, then you just pick less. So this is an exciting time to go ahead and try it. If your fantasy season is already over, I actually got cooked in fantasy football this year, and you're still looking to compete, now would be a great time to do that. Injuries just wrecked me, but we can play Prize Picks instead. And how you play is up to you. If you want flexibility, you can choose flex play, where you can get paid even if one of your picks misses. And if you want the biggest payouts, go for the power play. No matter how you play, Prize Picks is a great way to put your takes to the test. It's extremely straightforward, and it is now available in 45 states, including California, Texas, Florida, and Georgia. So, as you guys know, Prize Picks also puts their users first. So all withdrawals are fast and secure, and they accept most major payment methods, making deposits into your account quick and easy this sports season. Join millions of users and sign up for America's #1 fantasy sports app, Prize Picks. So download the Prize Picks app today and use code FORPLAY, FOURPLAY, to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code FORPLAY to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right.
It's just really well done theatre.
Do you want to know what the most unbelievable aspect of this movie is? That for 39 years, you were deep inside the fucking CIA doing off-the-book operations all around the world, and your life savings is $282,000.
That is a bit dark, isn't it? I know.
Bro, that's my first year. I'm on the right. Listen, we got a heroin dealer in fucking Vietnam. Let's fucking, of course I'm bringing that shit to the hood.
The thing is, though, that sadly, that is actually semi-plausible, though, because I can tell you, especially like the British intelligence, it really is like that. Like you can be killed and tortured by like Russia or China, and you're just making like what someone in the call center makes. You're like, what the fuck am I doing this for?
That is
Where's
actually
the millions? Where's the James Bond 10 out of 10 babe?
Where's my martini?
Where's my Aston Martin? Like, here's a Ford Fiesta, sir, on the company, of course. Give it back on Sunday. Like,
and by the way, we need receipts for all the petrol. Fuck's sake. Yeah, it's bad, man. It's like, that's what I like. Again, this film definitely does something really.
I have to ask everyone
cool.
Then, is it just me? Because I'm no joke. That ending hits me so hard. Like it's right in the sweet spot. You want
to know what, right? So, like, okay, first of all,
the emotion of it.
This is one of these movies for me, Duncan, where I think it needed one more scene.
And that scene contain though.
Okay, so here we go. Right, first of all, Robert Redford has just declared war on China on behalf of.
In a way, yeah.
Right. Like,
no. See, that's what I actually like. No. Because this is what I actually like about this movie.
Okay.
Is because China would have to just let this go because they would not be able to. They would have to publicly. They couldn't. They wouldn't declare war over this.
What happens?
But listen. They can't admit to anybody that they actually had a CIA agent, and they can't admit that they would have allowed the U.S. military to extract somebody from a Chinese prison. So they might do stuff behind the scenes, but again, it's not even presented that they would necessarily know 100% or be able to pin this on the U.S. government because of the power outage that he buys at the time. I'm just saying, I don't think this would
Two Black Hawk helicopters descend on a Chinese prison filled with people suspiciously dressed.
But ultimately, they just get they get a U.S. and a British citizen out, and there isn't anything that is done to China whatsoever to damage it, and they can't admit to having these people
on Chinese fucking police. It's bad. But
I'm
saying
The British
Probably the
woman
next
is not
American
supposed to be
guy.
in custody in China in the first place. These are illegal arrests that they've made.
Yeah, but what it's Chinatown with Monty.
No, but my point is that
The
this
next
wouldn't
American
cause a
prisoner
public
is killed
international
instantly.
incident.
Like the first thing they do is right. Who else have we got from America that's in these fucking cells? Kill them all. Kill them all. So you know that happens, and then obviously these trade deals that falls apart, right?
Maybe, but it's
China.
not.
You know,
it's not egg on their face publicly, which is really what they care about.
Sure,
maybe they would have to cancel the trade deal for some other reason. I mean, maybe like we don't
all,
know
all
the
of
effect
this
of
is,
this.
All of this is academic, right? Because what the scene definitely needs to contain is would have liked Robert Redford to talk to him one last time, and like maybe Robert Redford actually did have more money in the bank and he is off to the Bahamas. They should have at least had one thing. I know you can kind of think it's bittersweet that they didn't or whatever, but probably should. And also,
the implication is that he does have more money because the money he puts in the Cayman Islands account is the same that he needed for his payment on his apartment, so he could pretend that that's what the money was for.
No, but I think what the movie is telling you is that no, actually, to do right by Brad Pitt, he has given up all of his life savings and all.
That's the reading too.
Yeah, and all he's got at the end is that fucking Porsche, that vintage Porsche, and like now, by the way, can't ever work in intelligence again. Could be called an enemy of the state, like he has just done. Like, bro, he tricked the fucking 5-star general into fucking doing an extraction in a Chinese prison with forged documents. Like, you're not
Porsche is straight fire though.
Oh yeah, the Porsche is looking like 100%. But like, you're not driving off with that, man. You're not driving off into a sunset having done that. And by the way, as well, I will add, like, I did need a better line than "we've got another situation." Bro, it's more than a situation. This is fucking unbelievable. It's a nightmare. What are you talking about, bro? Robert Redford is fucking.
This is even where I understand. I bought the ticket and I
exactly.
No, that's fair. The moment towards the end where even as they're like, wait a minute, has he left the building yet? And it's like, as he's meeting that guard, you hear the phone ringing in the background. That must be them. Like, go! But he's just let him out already in his pocket.
Which is obviously a parallel to the opening scene.
I get that's
and also the CIA would never be able to, once he drives out of Langley, they would never be able to find him again.
As soon as he drives out, he's home.
I don't make the rules of the CIA. Once you drive out of the CIA, they can't do anything to you anymore. It's just known. When the phone's ringing, the guard doesn't get you. You're just free forever.
It's a sense of fair play. Once they're gone, they're gone. Spot a chance.
They're like, you know what? He has done us there. Fair enough.
I know.
Enjoy your retirement, Nathan, you wacky bastard.
Problem is, the movie doesn't really work as well when he just gets dragged back in, interrogated, completely
sent to a black site,
court-martialed, everything, all his record destroyed. He has to eventually he gets put in the Chinese prison at the end.
No, because obviously that's what
dark
they'd have to do. They'd have to say, "Oh, it was a rogue operative. We're sorry about this. Here's the guy who did it. Fucking have at it." That's what they'd have to do. So I did think, for me, while I appreciate the ending because it's nice, they're on the helicopters and somehow they're able to make eye contact, chopper to chopper, and then and it's like the operation dinner out was a success. Wait, what did you say? It's an earlier reference in the movie that Robert Redford said.
I don't care. I love it.
No, it's good. It's all
what
good.
did you say? I said it's dinner. Fucking out. Shut up.
Yeah, exactly. We're on a chop. It's so loud.
It seemed cool when Tony Scott did it. I know. Yeah.
No, it's all good. I just would have liked it if, like, after the dinner outline, Brad Pitt knew, like, they had a drop point or something and they could meet up, and Brad Pitt's like, "You said you wouldn't come back for me," something like that. I just needed that.
But I had to take my dinner out. Or
exactly.
To the camera.
Yeah, exactly. Brad Pitt
Spy
returns
Game 2.
in Spy Game 2. Yeah, exactly.
No. The Spy Game 2 would be, now that he needs money, right, to fund his new life, they're both going to turn into it's heist game. That's definitely the next one.
Heist.
By the way, low key though, even though this is a perfectly self-contained movie, I would love another movie like this. It's a dope ass little film, isn't it?
I'm trying to think, like, what would be like an equivalent. Like, what if we had that similar to this? Because if you think, like, it's sort of a buddy movie, but it's kind of not, and it's kind of a spy movie, but it's sort of not. Because it doesn't get into the nuts and bolts. Like, when you say spy movie, to me, it's like, I don't consider the Bond the Bond films, they're not spy movies,
Oh, not
really.
really.
No.
They're like capers, aren't they? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, so it's kind of what would be the
I mean,
equivalent
to be
of it?
fair, some of the earlier, it depends on the Bond movie. I would say like some of the earlier ones, especially from Russia with Love,
Yeah.
it's probably more of a spy movie.
Yeah, but the problem
Basically,
with
the
James
Connery
Bond
ones,
really is James Bond really does just punch and shoot most people, and that's how he solves all it. Like, he's not much of a detective / spy, is he? Even when the thing of this Monty, he doesn't even actually use social engineering. He just fucks you and makes you fall in love with him, and then throws you away like a piece of trash as he then solves the thing. Like, he's not really much of a spy, is he? Like, he's a bit trash as a spy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, also just having sex with everyone. And by the way, how many times does James Bond get played? One of the tropes in all of the movies is he has sex with a beautiful girl and she's really a double agent.
If anything, it's actually him who's the mark off the time. Like, what the hell? I thought we made love. Like, she's like, yeah, I'm actually on their side, believe it or not. More people can do that than
and by
just
the way,
me.
as well, they all have outrageously, obviously fake names like Nikita on a top or fucking Pussy Galore, and you're like, you're
that's why that Austin Power one is the best one. Like a lot of vagina or whatever. Like
exactly.
that actually is just straight fire because it's barely a tweet from a James Bond name though, isn't it? Like it's so outrageous. Isn't it?
Yeah. So anyway, like spy movies are kind of like a weird niche. I don't know how many good ones have
By
actually
the way, though,
been done.
the reason I picked this film though is because I do feel like this film just slipped through the cracks. Like, bear in mind, Tony Scott has a lot of famous films too. I think people just forget this film exists. I think it's a dope little film, like a little fucking sleeper that people just forget about.
Yeah, I mean.
There's I mean, we talked about Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. I mean, that's a good spy movie. I have quite enjoyed that one. Like Argo's pretty good. Right?
Argo's good. It's sort of similar, isn't it? A little bit. 'Cause it is about like
Bridge of Spies is really good.
Yeah.
Is Hunt for Red October a spy movie? Kind of.
I'm trying to think.
Bourne Identity?
There's got to be one. Like fucking. There's got to be one. There's got to be one. Because
I mean, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy is legitimately very good.
Yeah, but I'm talking about a movie like Spy Game. I'm talking about another movie like Spy Game. Like, what's that one Russell Crowe did? Fuck. He did a spy movie. And I can't remember what the fuck it's called.
Is it the one you mean with like Leonardo DiCaprio, like Body of Lies, or what? Didn't he do one like that was like that? Am I damn thinking the right?
Yeah, or was it Proof of Life? Was that? Ah, fuck. Anyway, it's got a name like that, like something of something, like State of Play, Body of Lies, Proof of Life. It's one of them. That was okay. I think fucking Kevin Costner did one as well in the 80s. It's not really a spy movie though. Yeah, there just really isn't anything like this because it's like I say, it's kind of a buddy movie, and it's kind of like.
I agree. It's more similar to the journalism arc. Like it's quite similar, I would say, to All the President's Men, honestly, in that it shows kind of the mundanity of investigative journalism and is a buddy movie.
By the way,
in a way,
as we pointed out, All the President's Men essentially is just a movie about using the phone. Like, it's mad, isn't it? Like, so much of it is just people making notes and just crossing. Oh, it was there on July 30th. Oh, thanks, Terrence Smith.
How do I spell that again?
It's actually like the most boring fucking heroic arc you can ever see. You know? It's so unsexy, it's impossible.
I know it's mental. But I think I guess the comparison is obviously Tony Scott to the film then, like the enemy of the state. I think they're both good companion pieces essentially because we nearly did Enemy of the State when we did our Gene Hackman arc. Because
we were closer to doing Crimson Tide, to be fair. Enemy of the State is very.
But being as we did the conversation as well, it's sort of like a spiritual success.
Yes, because people joke that Enemy of the State is like the unofficial sequel to the conversation.
And it sort of ends in like a kind of similar. It's got similar vibes in the sense that like the younger dude is the dude that's in trouble. The older dude is the older, wiser dude who's evaded being in trouble and can help the younger dude. So it's got a lot of similar plot beats, and obviously it's all super tense and the stakes are high. I mean, remember, by the way, this movie is essentially, flashbacks notwithstanding, it's set over 12 hours. Like it's just it's 12 hours. It's essentially just a shift. Oh, I'll also add one thing. Here's one thing I did hate about the movie. Right, Robert Redford is a whiskey snob saying, "I won't drink anything younger than 12 years."
Whiskey.
Yeah, I know. Like, come on, man.
Okay.
Come on, bro. 12 years. That's the benchmark, is it?
How rich is he? I know.
And, you know what I mean? It's just so
Well,
ridiculous.
the thing about single malts is that a lot of expressions at the base level are sold as 10, and like they're perfectly good.
Yeah, well, it's just crazy that he's like that. It's my he goes, is that in the rules too? My rules.
And also just the one-liners in this, like, is she older than that scotch? Or
Yeah, there
whatever
you
it
go.
was?
There you go. And he goes, and I'm supposed to be bothered about that? Like, yeah, I'm just fucking Nathan Muir. I'm just out here slaying. What are you gonna do? Yeah, it didn't hit that either. I mean, look, I think as well, like, there's some punchy bits in the script. Like I said, I think my favorite part of the movie, I think the strongest part of the movie, rather, not necessarily my favorite, but I think the strongest part of the movie is the whole Beirut segment. I think that's where you've got Robert Redford. Like, by the way, is it also implied that he's lying to the doctor about the terrorist having killed his family?
I mean, put it this way, I do think that if you look at the few cases we see of them doing actual like spycraft in the field, it does seem like that's the one area I also kind of vibed. I know what you mean with the beginning about Americans. You do get the sense, by the way, the Brits are exactly the same with like fucking MI6 and all that. But the vibe is the second you actually aren't of complete use to them, they don't give a fuck about you, bro. They're not really actually making a relationship with you, and they're going to help you out. Like I did sort of feel like they were just feeding that guy to the wolves regardless. Essentially, they just thought that was the compassionate one as opposed to firebombing the building. But they were going to do that anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
I got that vibe. Yeah,
the compassionate thing is we get a guy to abuse his, you know what I mean, like totally violate the Hippocratic Oath and kill an old.
And also, if you want to,
look,
I don't know what assumptions they want to make, but that would also be completely against your religion too, to just murder someone like that for political means. Again, it's actually a pretty outrageous ask. I know.
Yeah, and so and then like it's like, but by the way, if you don't get it done by 3:00. Because we've got that stand-up comedian Omar.
I also do love the way they're trying to do the other classic trope from American movies, which is, right, there's two ways we can do this. There's the really simple way. Essentially, it's the movie The Rock. There's the simple way where we just kill the main person. But actually, I'm not going to give him one more second. Fire the nukes onto them. No! Just give him 5 more minutes. You know, that whole trope in American movies. They have to do that as well, don't they? You know, like, just destroy the whole thing from orbit. Like, they have to be doing that every fucking time.
Why?
There's only those two options. There's only like the binary of like softly to like no, the whole fucking imprint of the fucking hell Americans. Come on.
One other thing that I think took away from this movie and aged very badly is when they like freeze it and turn it black and white with like the timer, which is just completely unnecessary.
Another that is.
Yeah, another 2000.
Also, boys, half the problem we're also facing here is that they did do all these things then in every video game for the next 10 years after this time period
Also
too.
true.
So we've also seen 1 million films with a cutscene like that. Also, yeah, of course, it became like part of the visual language. Unfortunately, it's a bit. I know what you mean. It's a bit hacky now. It's been done a million times.
Well, it also just like seeped into television with 24, where you do get the clock showing the 24-hour countdown. But I think in this movie, you don't need that because there's a real, like, it's paced very well and there's a real pressure, and you can imply the passage of time very well, and it doesn't have to just like literally freeze and just be like black and white. Here's the clock on the screen. Also, the clock's kind of meaningless because at first it's like this many hours to Bishop's execution, and then the number of hours to his execution just goes away. So it's not in reference to anything else. It just ends up being very strange.
I mean, look, I think, I think, as I said, what it's trying to do is essentially, like all movies, it's got a limited time to synthesize, you know, what it wants to show you. And so obviously we've got this relationship. I need to show you this relationship. I need to sort of tell you about, you know, Brad Pitt and Robert Redford's relationship, but I can't put them on screen in the present and have them interact with as they are now. So I am going to have to use flashbacks. And so the flashbacks have to be important. And I think beat for beat, I think each of the segments they put in are, you know, all the little functional vignettes that tell us things about the character. You know, Brad Pitt, for instance, we know he's a good sniper. He has no moral issue over killing, right? So that's step number one, by the way, if you want to be inspired. He has a conscience. He doesn't want to just use people and cast them to the wolves when he's done with them, as we find out in the Berlin Wall segment. But in Vietnam, he'll happily shoot somebody. But not only that, what else do we know about him? Well, he saves the life of his buddy, doesn't he? who's that guy from Doctor Strange, Benedict Wong. Benedict Wong, who literally now plays a character called Wong in the Marvel Universe. Benedict Wong is his like guy who's like, wind is a little bit corrected in, five to the left. And he's that guy. The sniper teams work in pairs, right?
He's a spotter. He's a spotter.
Spotter, that's the word I'm looking for. So anyway, he doesn't leave him behind when he gets shot in the leg. He carries him out, blows up a helicopter, and then doesn't just go and say, "Oh, lie here, I'll go get help." Pulls him through a swamp. Again, a little bit of a cliche. Robert Redford's like, "Fuck, man, I guess we're just gonna have to leave him there." And he's like, "I'm sorry about your man." And then it's like, "What's that?" And it's just literally Brad Pitt and Wong in a fucking massive open. Like, how have you missed that? How have you missed that, guys? They're right out. They're right there. And he goes, "Man, it's great." So, but it's all the little segments are all good. And like I said, I think there is obviously the movie's not shooting for believability, but I think there is a believability in Brad Pitt's character, how he could become jaded over time and definitely look at all of the morality of the totality of his fucking career and all the choices he's made.
Well, it's also a lonely life. I mean, these people can't have normal human relationships with people because even if you did have a wife or a family, you couldn't tell them what the fuck you were doing. You're away so much of the time on mystery missions and nobody knows what you're doing. So, there's nothing is genuine about your life anymore. And it's hard to find human connections. Even the characters, I think what they do a very good job of in this film is showing that, Muir and Bishop, Bishop gets angry at him because in a way you're signing up. Muir is the devil, and you're signing a pact with him that you can never have these things. You can never have human connections. If you start feeling something for somebody, they might be playing you like that German guy was with the Russians, and you can't be sentimental about the fact that you're just going to get a bunch of people killed. And for what?
Yeah.
What's the point of it all at the end? It's just some abstract idea of patriotism. And then you get the symbol of that with this burnt flag that's never explained on his wall, right? Like,
I bet Robert
Redford
brought that in himself, man. Like Robert Redford,
it's a great symbol of the movie, right? It's a very effective.
He's a flaming
because
lefty.
You see them doing all the horrible things, which are like torching the nobility of American ideals, right?
Yeah.
But somebody has to get in the mud and do these things. But finding the right person to do that, who's willing to give up everything for such an abstract concept, is hard. And even if you find somebody who can do that and who's willing to try and do that, will they stay in that place forever? The answer with Muir was yes, until retirement. The answer with Bishop was no. Like, he failed.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy to think about as well. Like dedicating 39 years to just being didn't decide like, look, I've done my time. I've done 20 years. Can I have 19 years of just being a normal human? Like, having basic empathy, none of that. 39 years. You're doing the full 39 years of just being a horrible.
It reminds me a lot of
Brad Pitt.
It reminds me a lot of what Villeneuve did at the end of Sicario with all of those black ops guys who are just like laughing it up, going on those guys are just fucking freaks,
Yeah. Well,
they have to go in and do the dirty work.
One of the things that's emerged in the podcasting space in the last few years is all of these fucking elite level soldiers now all want to tell their shit, right? Which of course
maddest is the guy who claims he killed Bin Laden. This guy almost has done like a whole press tour of every possible outlet.
He wrote a book.
To tell that. He brags about it, bro. Back in the day, he was supposed to be some unknown secret person who did it as part of an elite. I know what you mean. Now he wants to be like a celebrity or something.
Yeah.
Bro. It's nuts.
And it's wild because I remember again dating myself, but I remember when Bravo 2.0 came out, by Andy McNabb, which was like a fucking code name for an ex-SAS guy, and he was telling all the stories about all of their shit that they were getting into. And then there was the other guy, was it Chris McDonald? Can't remember, but anyway, he got captured, and one of the whole things was like Andy McNabb fucking got captured, blah blah blah, and then there was this whole thing about I got away and he's not told the truth in the books, and a lot of I'm from a military family, as I've joked many times. You had two choices in my family: you either became a criminal or you joined the army. A lot of my family hated all that shit. They were like, like kiss and tell bullshit. Like, how fucking dare you talk about operations you were on, particularly like if you're in the SAS or the SBS, like that's fucking wild to be talking about that. And then here we are today, the fucking, the entire podcasting space. It's just, you've got podcasts now, huge millions of viewers, and it's just dedicated to people coming on and going, yeah, we were on this Black Op operation in Afghanistan, and we did this, and we killed these civilians. And you're like, what? Why are you saying this out loud, bro? And it's like, for some of them, I think it's like therapy, kind of, to be finally able to talk about this stuff to an audience and maybe be given some clemency and forgiveness. But for a lot of them, I think they're just attention-seeking fucking psychos, man. Like, they're just fucking... like, these things would fucking haunt me. I wouldn't be going on Joe Rogan talking about the time a bullet went through a fucking terrorist I was shooting and killed a kid. Like, probably leaving that one on the cutting room floor when it comes to the story of my life, So I suppose, like, one of the things that it does sort of nail in its own way, which is crazy because Robert Redford is actually not given a lot to do or say in this film, which is another reason why it's a really good, subtle performance. You realize he is a bit sociopathic. He is fucking crazy. And he has to be to do the job that he does. Like, every time he's monologuing about, like, the fucking hard realities of the job, he is dealing some unbelievable fucking hard truths to Brad Pitt in this film. Like, the woman's playing you. If you ever get caught behind enemy lines, you're on your own. Assets are just there to be used. These are people we use to obtain things. Even when he's giving his write-up about why Brad Pitt was a good agent, he's going, he could flip somebody in seconds. It's like, even the thing he likes about him is some horrible, cynical thing to do to people. It's like... It's fucking crazy. So I think Robert Redford does a lot with not a lot of much in this film. I really do. I mean, like, keep in mind, for some scenes, he doesn't even have dialogue. He just has to sit there while they talk to him.
And also, if this was played by a bad actor, I mean, he absolutely powers this entire film.
Yeah,
yeah. Brad Bishop's character could have been played by many actors, right? And I don't think it really affects the quality of the film. If you don't have Muir played by somebody who is this good, this film just falls apart.
I've got a little bit of trivia for you. This will blow Duncan's mind, right? Brad Pitt turned down another spy movie to be in this one. A little movie called The Bourne Identity.
Ooh, okay.
Where he would have been Jason Bourne.
That would have changed his whole career trajectory.
Yeah, fuck.
By the way, this is a better film, though.
I like the Bourne movies.
I'm not a fan of the Bourne movies particularly.
The first one?
The first one's all right.
Oh, it's got that wicked fucking car chasing.
My problem, by the way...
This movie did need a good car chase.
Other people apparently don't have this issue. I really can't stand it. It actually annoys my eyes when you do that blurry camera action that Bourne is notorious for. I find that really irritating for my eyes. Other people, apparently, it's like 3D. Some people are fine with it. I can't handle that personally. It does my head in.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me.
I mean, Matt Damon for me,
and to me, that's an example actually of where this is a good contrast to Tony Scott films. Tony Scott films can have things that are Hollywood tropes and that are cheesy, but I can forgive them in some way.
Yeah,
I can't handle that the Bourne films really are the sort of like, I push you over the edge of a building, and then I'll use you to land on, and then roll off, and then shoot another guy with a pistol. So you've taken it like too much, like Neo in the Matrix. You know what? You've taken like the physics too crazy for me. Yeah. I have a hard time going along with that.
I think the problem though with turning down the Bourne Identity, if you are Brad Pitt, is that this role is just really not very noteworthy.
No.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem. Is like being Jason Bourne is a million times better than being Tom Bishop. There's just like does. It's not that he's bad. It's just there's not a lot to work with here because Robert Redford has the meatier role.
Yeah.
Right.
I think as well, like, I don't know if there was ever any pretensions of this being like a fucking, franchise or whatever. Like, I think this was clearly scripted and designed as being a one-shot movie. Obviously with the Bourne Identity, it's based on the fucking books, right? So there was a series of books. So they made the Bourne Identity with the view of like, we need a leading man that can carry a franchise or whatever. Probably would have made Brad Pitt an absolute fortune, but also would have kept him out of some really, really good movies, no doubt. But it is interesting because I think, funny enough, I guess that's kind of the thing with the Bourne movies. We were just talking about famous spy movies, talking about Bond, talking about all that stuff, the update of Bond, all these other spy movies. The Bond identity didn't even come to mind until now. Because it's like, I don't know, I think they're kind of like, they've all blurred into one for me. It's just fucking Matt Damon just doing that a lot. And like, they're probably better films than I remember, but I don't really remember
They're
them.
fine action films. You know what I mean? They're fine.
Yeah, I also don't know how I feel about Matt Damon as an action guy. And I'm glad that's over with. He's a better actor than that. You know, but anyway, back to Spy Game. Yeah, Rob, what did you think of? We're in some choppy territory here, lads. What did you think of Catherine McCormack in this film?
Didn't really care.
Yeah.
That's the thing. She was all right, but I actually thought the casting was good in the sense that I did actually get. This is another thing I thought was interesting about the film. They don't actually make the main characters, though, super cliched. Like I say, I do think they grant that she's got like a dark edge to her, that character. She's not just like some damsel in distress that Brad Pitt, such a cool guy, is going to save. No, there's like something fucked up and flawed about her. And I think actually that actress, she didn't have much to work with, but I thought she nailed that. Did a decent job. She's not really in the film much, to be fair. Does she even get 10 lines? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Feel like she's in that much.
That's what I mean. It's kind of like, did the movie need more to make me believe that Brad Pitt would illegally break into a Chinese prison? You know what I mean? Because like, all I'm saying is she must have been wicked in bed.
So that's the one part about actually the Robert Redford character that's a bit dark. It's like he doesn't just tell that guy basically like just stay away from this woman sort of.
Oh, yeah,
he goes like, right, if you're not going to, then I'm just going to trade her too.
Yeah, I know. He had a rendition.
That seems like a bit of an overreach there, mate. Yeah. Come on.
That was wild. He was wild. He was wild in that one.
Because they do sort of like, they don't hit that too hard. You know what I mean? They're just like, yeah, we've all made mistakes. You know, like, it's
the reason I ask is because obviously she's
and also, by the way, there's another thing. Yeah. He's not. This does sort of undercut the main character, unfortunately. He also not only has a rendition, bro. They forge a Dear John letter, sort of like anyway, sort of fuck off, basically, like go away from me, like so, that's actually mad out of pocket.
Yeah, that's what
you better do Operation Dinner Out after that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Like Robert Redford kind of had to, you know, he had to break her out of the prison. Like at the end of the day, he had to at least help. Yeah, it was mental what he did. But
also, don't let this bother you, because if you do think about this will actually annoy you.
Okay.
But someone pointed this out to me, and it annoyed me because I was allowing myself to, like Westworld, not see the thing that I shouldn't be allowed to see. Right. Technically, if you think about it, right, at the beginning of the movie, so there's him trying to break in and get that woman out. You have the one person, like you say, who runs away. Remember, he gets out, that's okay. Mm-hmm. But then here's what they don't bother mentioning. There was all those other people who were also those fake doctors and that helping. They just get forgotten about by the movie.
Yeah, true.
They're just done so forever in a Chinese prison because we can only save so many people, bro. Like we can only get this guy and his girlfriend out. Like we can't just forget. They just forget about those fake doctors, man. Those, I swear, if you go back, they were never there. Don't worry about that. Because surely they're all in the prison too. They're trying to fucking. That seems like an oversight.
Sorry, dude.
Just forget about it.
Sorry, dude. Blonde head, blue-eyed Brad Pitt.
Exactly.
Yeah, those guys weren't white.
You're not even from fucking Angus.
Sorry, man.
Get the fuck out.
It's just like, it's ridiculous. The reason I asked about
don't think about that too much.
The reason I asked about that performance is because obviously she's, you know, she's in 28 Weeks Later.
Oh yes.
Where she plays the woman that gets infected.
She's the one who fucks up at the beginning of the movie. Probably the best scene of the whole thing. Obviously.
Which it is, obviously. So obviously, I'd watched that recently to prepare for 28 Years Later, and I was like, oh wow, she's good in that. You know, like she's good in that. But in Spy Game, I guess she doesn't have anything to do. She is also as well William Wallace's missus in Braveheart. She just gets murked kind of instantly, right? Prima nocte.
Oh, is she the one who gets her throat cut at the beginning of the movie?
And at the end, she's the one walking through the crowd. He's looking at, all euphoric fights about the guy.
There's a movie we have to go back and revisit. By the way,
I imagine that movie is terrible.
Yeah. Sadly, I haven't watched that movie since the 90s, and obviously in the 90s you were loving it, weren't you? It was fucking epic. But I'm so scared it's going to be fucking trash.
Oh no, it will be.
Thorin, I'm pretty sure it's not a good movie.
No, but here's the one thing, Monty. The one angle I'll give it is this though. What has changed since I was a boy is when I was a boy, I was like a wrestling mark, bro. I didn't like any of the heels in wrestling. I liked all the heroes and the baby faces, and Superman, and I hope the good guy wins. So here's what I know I would enjoy that I didn't when I was a boy. I guarantee my respite in this movie is no longer what's the fucking actor's
Mel
name?
Gibson.
Mel Gibson and Braveheart. It's obviously going to be Longshanks, isn't it, bro? There's a character to fucking enjoy, because that character is an asshole in the best possible way. So many great lines, mate.
No,
so many
it's so mental.
Send
it's so
the
mental.
Irish.
Send in the Irish.
Mate, that's why I actually might rewatch it just
launches his
like
gay son out of a window, like he's just wild. He's wild as fuck, bro.
So,
he's
yeah,
wild.
Right, all because he dares to make a comment. I fucking glorious.
That's the thing. I'll also say as well, like Robert the Bruce is the actor who plays him is a brilliant pussy. He's such a he's a perfect pussy. I saw it with my own eyes, man.
Yeah.
I saw the men willing to fight and die for him.
Yeah.
I bet it bangs still, man.
But then there's the scene at the end
we're
where
talking ourselves back into it now.
Yeah. Listen,
I mean, I think it's just unforgivable because of the scene at the end where he's like, "You can take my life, but you can never take my freedom."
Yeah, but
it's terrible.
Hang on, right? Like
it's terrible.
No, come on, dude. Come on. At the end of the day, it's not on a level with, let's say, for instance, a Frankenstein movie having a dying character tell Frankenstein he's the monster. It's not on a par with that. It's still pretty good. Like, I'm just saying.
Also,
I mean, that one moment just tanks that entire movie by itself.
Bro, there are some amazing quotes. There's this quote where he goes, "The trouble with Scotland is that it's full of Scots."
And it's like,
love this movie.
I feel like you guys
I'm
find
back
this
in. I'm
funnier
back in.
than I would.
Remembering these quotes, I'm back in.
Yeah, I know.
I thought I was out, but
no, but like,
I'm
so
back
actually, I can link this back to Spy Game, right? Because
I don't have your ancient UK hatreds, you know. So.
Hey, listen, we're all Celtic brothers and sisters together on my side of the aisle, so it's all good. But anyway, to bring about the Spy Game, they did resist the urge. There was a scene where I thought they were going to say the title of the movie in it. When he was going, it's a game, it's a game.
Yeah.
It's a game you don't want to lose.
Spy Game.
Don't say Spy Game. Don't say Spy. Please, Mr. Redford, I'm begging you, don't say Spy Game. But they didn't say Spy Game.
By the way, why is that the sign in Hollywood of the hack where you just turn to the camera like, it's a twisted spy game?
It's not a fucking game.
Oh, yes, it is. It's exactly what it is. And it's no kid's game either. This is a whole other game. And it's serious and it's dangerous. And it's not one you want to lose.
Yeah, if the name of the movie is ever uttered by a character in the movie.
But also, they're all hacks. They can't just do it subtly. They always have to land right on the word, don't like spy game. Like,
it's like, you know,
I've done that.
It would be like if, like, Danny Glover in, like, Lethal Weapon. You don't understand Martin Riggs. He's a lethal weapon. I get it.
By the way, that movie also still contains one of my favorite stupid American tropes, which is the idea that if at the end the bad guy's like, "Fight me one-on-one," you're like, clear out. Like,
dude.
We don't have to just kill him. We've got guns and everything. Like, clear out, give him a chance, one-on-one. And then even then he's getting illegal weapons. Why? You couldn't see that coming. Come on, check him for weapons at least, you know.
Yeah, I've got tactical command of this scene. Everybody, we're gonna have a 1v1. 1v1 me mid.
It's so good.
All right, I feel like we're now devolving. So
yeah, sorry.
Yeah, but the point is, Spy Game is a love letter to cinema. There you go.
There you go.
That's a lofty.
By the way,
bro.
the most Roger Ebert subheading.
Well,
to begin.
I'm glad you brought him up. Roger Ebert was alive.
He must have liked this movie. He must have. 2.5 stars, I'm guessing. What did he go?
Oh, you fucking nailed it, mate. 2.5 stars.
It had to be. It had to be.
I
assume he's a Robert Redford fan. That goes out saying at this point, right?
Right. Now, the problem is, Roger Ebert, not some horrible portmanteau of those two people coming together. He's done a review about a totally different movie in the review of Spy Game. Basically, it's mostly a review of a film called The Tailor of Panama, starring Pierce Brosnan.
Why?
Yes.
Right.
That movie's bad, by the way.
Yeah. Which he says, because it's a John Bowman movie.
Okay.
And it's based on one of the, like, what's he called? John Le Carre, the fucking spy.
The guy who did the Turkey Tale Spy.
Yeah. So anyway, and it's like, so he makes all these parallels. So I can't really just pick a quote out that works because half the review is about the Tailor of Panama. But I will read you the one bit that might make some sense towards the end of it.
Why is he like this?
He's just a fucking mess, isn't he? I sat attentively through Spy Game. admired Redford for the way he created a performance that sometimes consisted only of quick shots of his facial expressions, and understood that Pitt's character was conflicted and would have explained why if the screenplay allowed dialogue as long as a paragraph. I was reminded that Redford's earlier spy thriller, 3 Days of the Condor, had at its heart his brief, sad relationship with Faye Dunaway. It was interested in how they cared for one another, while Spy Game's Pitt and McCormack pairing is simply declared to exist. The Tailor of Panama didn't do well at the box office, because he's been talking about that for 5 paragraphs prior. Maybe people thought it was about a tailor. Spy Game at least has a title that gets the idea across. It isn't a bad movie.
So that's the analysis of the box office failures, that the title wasn't literal enough. Like, well, I don't movie about a tailor. Sounds boring. Spies. Oh no, I'm in. Like, there's more than that, surely, Roger. Come on.
It is not a bad movie, mind you. It's clever and shows great control of craft, but it doesn't care, and so it's hard for us to care about. To see it once is to plumb to the bottom of its mysteries and beyond.
What? What does that even mean? It doesn't care. What the fuck does that mean?
It doesn't care, mate. It doesn't care. You just watch it once, and because it's like not some deep movie where you have to write in a gay subtext in your head canon.
I can't handle it. So in the review, remember the review explicitly of the film Spy Game is him going, Robert Redford, which reminds me again of the Tailor of Panama. Like, that's what you're reviewing. What is this?
I just love how.
Did you just want to do that movie instead? What the fuck is this?
Roger Ebert was like, well, it's time for me to sit down and write a newspaper article about my review of Spy Game. I'm going to dedicate this to a review of a movie that I already reviewed. And so if you read this, you have to understand this other movie. It's like, what are you doing?
Sounds
and
like
then
when you're a kid and you didn't read the book for the book assignment. You're just making it up based on
There
the
is
back of the book,
literally not a single paragraph that goes by without mentioning this other film, by the way.
So the question is, like, at the end, he's like a sphinx. What does it mean? It doesn't care. What is that? What is that? Can you explain that to me?
The movie doesn't care. And if you've seen it once, you've plumbed all of its mysteries, Monty.
What
don't you
does
understand?
That mean?
What don't you understand about the modern poet of our time, Roger Ebert? Have you ever read a poem called Ozymandias?
At the end of Spy Game, what should have happened is beaten up Brad Pitt should have just turned to the camera and gone, I guess this could be the start of a beautiful friendship.
And then
sail off, yeah.
And then Robert Redford, they pull off a mask, and Robert Redford was on the chopper the whole time, and the kids.
Ethan Hawke, yeah, whatever. Like it.
There you go. Script doctored it. But no, look. Obviously, like where I agree with Ebert is, it's like we said at the start, the movie isn't going for a lot of substance. It is a perfect vehicle for Robert Redford. I can see why he was attracted to this movie, because ultimately it is, it's a fucking good time. Like we've said it all over this arc. Robert Redford, he has, over the course of his career, made important films, absolutely. But he also understands that cinema doesn't have to be a sermon. Doesn't have to be a lecture. It doesn't have to hector you. It doesn't have to be, a fucking, look at the bloody shit we're doing. Well, think about it, man. It doesn't have to be that. And this movie, as I said, is the perfect encapsulation of that pre-9/11 sensibility of, like, it was kind of okay to criticize America and be critical of them, but you didn't have to go too hard in the paint, because after all, what's better than America at the end of the day? Do we do bad stuff? Yeah, of course we do. So for me, this is like another one of those wonderful relics of like the early, the late 90s, early 2000s, where people are like making movies that ultimately, they're about big subject matter, but they don't explore it in a way that's like slow and ponderous and meditative. And obviously I have no problem with any of those qualities in a film. But, if I say to you, Robert Redford, Brad Pitt in a movie, Spy Game, like, I mean, what do you want? Like, what do you want? You get exactly what you want. There's no way, by the way, if I'd seen that poster, first of all, I'm watching this movie 100%. Tony Scott directing those two in the spy movie. I'm there. I've already watched Enemy of the State. This'll bang, right? But also as well, I could be under no illusions. I'm not going in like Roger Ebert going, I wonder if this will be like a John Le Carre novel. Like, no, it fucking won't, will it? It absolutely won't, you man.
By the way, Oh, listen, boys. This is where this is my love letter to Hollywood,
Right.
because the cover for this movie is a masterpiece. Listen to this, Monty.
Yeah, go on.
Here's the subtext they dare to put on the cover.
Right,
So in the middle of the thing, it's Spy Game, and then it's like a picture of Robert Redford up here, picture of Brad Pitt down there. Then it just says up here, it goes, "It's not how you play the game." ... Bottom part of the poster, it's how the game plays you.
There you go. Spy Game.
Listen, at the end of that,
Roadhouse.
Monty, you press enter on the typewriter, it goes ding.
Roadhouse.
You rip out that piece of paper and you go, "This is liquid gold." And then someone goes, "Peter, here's $400,000 for the most amazing top line of associated."
But the game doesn't play them at any point in time. They're playing the game the whole time. The game never bites them.
What's brilliant, Monty, is that
he's in a Chinese prison.
It sounds like a wise saying. There's nothing in that. It's just complete nonsense. It's not how you play the game. Yeah, well, it's how the game plays you. But how did the game play me? Yeah, you're right. It was just how you played the game, really, and you played it really well, so you win. Like
the movie was just you won.
Yeah,
the
you're right.
game.
Actually, you know what? You're right. Here's the ultimate thing I will say in praise of this movie. It didn't end by some character going, "Well, I guess in the end he won the spy game." Like, you're right. That could have ruined the entire film if you'd just put that scene in at the end. Like, that would low key make me throw up.
Yeah,
true.
but I'll say this as well. What's interesting about it is it did better in overseas markets than it did domestically, and we've talked a lot about.
Does have a mild anti-American subtext, Richard?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Okay, I know it does.
Yeah. But also, I mean, like when it came out, 9/11 had just happened.
Loki, I've realised now, between this and Enemy of the State, like Tony Scott's actually low-key based too. Like, he's just using all Americans, like some Robin Hood shit. He's using their money in Hollywood to just piss in their faces. Like, yeah, you're all fucking dickheads with all the spy apparatus you've got. Fuck you.
I mean, look, he focused like
did it actually make money then? Does that mean? Does it
it did, but only because of like overseas markets. It actually had a massive budget. The budget here, according to Wikipedia, is $115 million.
Hell.
Yeah, most of that.
Shit.
Yeah, most of that must have been in the Beirut segment, which I think looks great, and it looks like they really did fucking demolish a building, right? Like, it actually looks legit, that set they built. So that's good. And also,
by the way, another thing you have to give to Tony Scott is, notice how we at no point in time have talked particularly about the way it's shot. It's just really well professionally shot. Like there's not too much stuff that's super memorable, but there's also the quality of it all's really good. Like all the angles and everything, very well done. Nothing seems too cheesy to me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. That's what I was about to say. Like, they have a suicide bombing in it where the suicide bomber doesn't go like something ridiculous. Like, it's not like stereotypical like that. It's just literally our suicide bombing happens. And also it sort of tells you the story through the pictures as well. They put the vest on, they hug them while while Robert's talking about someone else, and then obviously as he comes around the corner, he just like readjusts the vest to draw your attention to it. Little subtleties like that. Yeah, it is a well shot movie, and as I said, I think like most of the budget probably went on the Beirut segment. Although, actually, thinking about it, in Vietnam, hiring all them helicopters and stuff, like, they probably did the money is there on the screen for sure. It's not like maybe another movie we just recently reviewed where you might be perplexed how you spent $120 million on it. At least this sort of does make sense. But the point I was going to wrap up with is, like, another thing Tony Scott obviously did is he did explore Americana and American institutions pretty much across all of his movies, and especially the military. And, Top Gun was... I wonder if, because Top Gun was always said to be the best recruitment video ever for the American Air Force, that's what like a lot of people say about it. I always wonder if Tony Scott's later output of his military and American government movies are deliberately critical because he didn't want that to be like his legacy. You know what I mean? Like, he obviously is very cynical about American foreign policy and American military operations. That much is clear by the projects he decides on. I mean, Crimson Tide, right? Starts there, probably. But he just criticised a lot of institutions, police work, NASCAR, I think. Days of Thunder, no one's coming aboard for that. But I think, as I said.
By the way, I will put this as a little bit of a aside, just a cute Tony Scott reference. So to your point about Top Gun, because famously, like, the U.S. Air Force let him like use all those jets in San Diego, and when the U.S. military likes what you're saying, they'll be like, yeah, come film us flying our toys around, and you can put that in your cool U.S. Air Force movie. So for Crimson Tide, because it's literally about a U.S. Submarine getting hijacked, the Navy said, you know what? You can't use our submarines for this. So what he did was he had a helicopter on call in Hawaii, and he caught the real USS Alabama sub heading out to sea, and they just flew their own helicopter and filmed it without U.S. military permission to get the shots of the submarine in the movie, which is pretty cool.
I mean, listen, that right there, that's all you need to know about
It's pretty
Tony Scott,
based.
isn't it? Yeah, he just gets it done one way or another. So yeah, I enjoyed this. It might conceivably be the weakest movie in the arc, which we can agree or disagree about that. But I think that's a testament to Robert Redford's output. Even when he was in his 60s, well into his 60s, he was still making quality movies. And as we'll get to on the last movie in the arc, he made an incredibly poignant and bittersweet movie. Even when people had said he's essentially in semi-retirement, he came back. You son of a bitch, I'm in one last time for a really, really wonderful movie. And, like I say, Robert Redford's one of those dudes. I'll just always watch him. I'll always watch what his stuff's in. I'll always go back and rewatch many of his movies. He's produced some incredible moments of cinema. Would Spy Game be among them? You know what? Maybe not. But then again, I rewatched it. I enjoyed it. And I remembered it from the first time I watched it and was pleasantly surprised to see there were some things in there I forgot. Most notably Stannis Baratheon popping up and doing a really good job. So, I mean, look, this is in that sweet spot we always pick. It's that 6.5, borderline 7 out of 10 movie.
Yeah, it's a fun movie.
Yeah, so it was a good time. But Old Man and the Gun.
Woo! It's coming up next. So, guys, our final movie is a 2018 film called The Old Man and the Gun. So we've kind of skipped around a decade here, a decade there. We started in 1973 with The Sting. Then we were mid-90s. Now we're early 2000s. Now we're going to be 2018. So we've tried to show you, a 45-year arc of Robert Redford's career. So we hope you join us for the last episode on The Old Man and the Gun.